Welcome back, everybody. It's Mo again. So, what we're going to be continuing with is GPOs, but this time we're going to be looking at some different types of aspects that I could do with policies. Watch this. Let me tell you what I'm actually talking about. Let me go back to my server and log on. So, let's say we have an actual department, an organizational unit, such as, let's talk about, let's say, for example, sales. I don't want any policies that are linked to the domain to affect the sales OU. Watch this. For example, right now, the command prompt and the registry and all these are affecting the sales OU, even though there's no policies linked to the sales OU. So if I try to log in as, let's say, S3, let me just log off over here and show you. And let's sign on as S3 to show you that I will be getting affected by the policies are actually linked to domain level. It will actually affect me. Both of them, all of them actually, right? I want to show you the command prompt and let's say the registry. So if I try to open the command prompt, watch this, or registry, I can't. And if I try to open the command prompt, I can't. Why? Because when I go back to the domain level, these are coming from where? From the domain level. But look what I could do. I could right click sales and do block inheritance. What does that mean? If I block inheritance at that OU level, none of the policies will affect me from the domain level. Okay, let me run a GPO update and see what this actually does for me. And let me go back to my client machine, the same one, and sign out, right? And sign on with the same account, let's say S3. And this time I should be able to open the command prompt and I should be able to open the registry because I blocked inheritance at the OU level. So let me sign on and see how this actually works. So the policies at the domain level will not affect the OU, which is sales in our case, all right? So if I open the command prompt, I should be able to open it. There you go. And if I try to open the registry, I should be able to open the registry. You see that? That's what block inheritance is, which means I am blocking the inheritance of the policies that are actually coming from the domain level to affect this specific OU. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you first. But look at this. Let me go back to my server. Minimize this. So I blocked inheritance at the sales. Remember when there was a conflict between the QA and the actual domain, which one was actually winning? The QA because of the policies configured at this level, and it's configured at the domain level, the OU is going to win. But let me show you how I could actually make the domain level overwrite the OU level. So watch this. Let me go back and log in as, look at this. Before I do that, just to remind you, that at the QA, it says, prevent access to the command prompt says disabled, which means I could open it. And the domain level says prevent access to the command prompt. It says what? Enabled, which means I can't open it. So which one wins? The OU wins. So let me minimize this and go to a machine here. And let's say sign out and sign on as Q3, let's say. Right? So remember, this is actually on the server, which is for the QA quality assurance. Let me sign on as Q3. And Q3 should be able to open what? Pro panel. Let's verify that just to make sure that it's actually working. All right. And let me go here and type control, and I should be able to open control panel. Okay, good. Well, watch this. Why? Because when the policy is configured at the OU level and it's also configured at the domain level, the OU wins. But look, I want to show you that the domain can actually still win. If I right click on the main command prompt over here, or let's say I'm going to right click on this, like which one is actually going to win? Because look, the main command prompt is losing the war over here because QA command prompt is winning. So I'm going to right click the main command prompt and choose enforced. You see this? Okay, there's a lock on it. If I enforce the policy here, what's going to happen if there's a conflict between the domain level and the OU level? If I enforce the policy here, will it actually still affect the sales OU even though there's block inheritance? There's a few things that we need to test. Well, let me first run GP update. Let me minimize this and go back and sign on, right? So this, just to show you, right? So when I try to open the command prompt over here, right? I could open it because the OU is actually winning. Let me just sign out and log on as Q3 and see if I could actually open or not. This time I won't be able to open. Why? Because the domain is going to win. Why is the domain going to win? Well, because if there's a conflict, OU is going to win. But if I enforce it at the domain level, it will pass through. It will win the election. Let me show you that. So that's why I wanted to show you all these different settings. So if I go to the command prompt, look at it. I can't. Why? Because look, it's actually being overwritten by the enforcement. You see that? Okay, well, I told you about the sales. Like when I log in as, let's say, for example, S1, 2, or 3, none of the policies from the domain level will affect me. Remember, we did that. But let me log in again as S3 and see if the command prompt is going to affect me. All right. I'll try this computer over here. Call the user and S3. Or I'll try another. It looks like we never logged in as S3 to this computer. Let me sign out while we're waiting for that and sign on as S3. And there you go, S3. All right. Let me see if I could open the command prompt. Before I was able to, remember? But now let me see if I could still open it because it got actually enforced at the domain level. Okay, and let's see, CMD, and look, I can't open it. It overwrites the block inheritance. You see that? Okay, so when there's something enforced, even though it's block inheritance at the OU level, it will pass through it, right? If there's something enforced at the domain level and there's the same policy at the OU level, the domain level will win. If it's not enforced, then basically block inheritance will block everything that is coming from the domain level. If there's no enforcement, if there's a policy that is configured at the OU and there's a policy that is configured at the domain level, the OU is going to win. Well, look at this. One last thing that I want to show you. If I remove a link from a policy, for example, here's HR control panel, right? If I go ahead and let's say I right click and remove the link, that's like disabling the policy. Okay. This means HR users can still open control panel. Let me open the command prompt and run GP update. And let's log on as H3, let's say. And I should be able to open control panel as H1, 2, or 3. All right. Let's see. H3 and log on. So if I try to open control panel, it should actually allow me to because I disabled the policy. And that's what it really did. It just disabled the policy. And there you go. I could open control panel. That's what I wanted to show you in this lecture. We're going to continue with actually our next one will be a computer configuration policy. How will I make that take effect? And you'll see the secrets behind that. So we'll see you folks later. All right, everybody. Bye.